Hello everybody, this is Namtox from NTF Gaming, back here for another episode of Factual Opinions, the only place to get the correct opinion on the state of video games. And today I'm going to give you my review for Middle-earth: Shadow of War, the sequel to Monolith Software's breakout hit, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Now, let's just get right to it. You all know the first game, you all know the Nemesis system, you know that's what made it really tick. This game follows it up, directly taking place after the first one. Talion is back, Killer Brimbor is back, and this time you're going directly after Sauron with your new ring. They throw in a lot of new wrinkles into the storyline. You get a lot of new characters from Gondor, Shelob, who's very sexy this time around, not very spider-like. And on top of that, you get a game that is just blown out in every way. There's a vastly improved leveling system. You know, you get gear now, there are sets, even the gear has its own set of challenges that once completed will transform your gear, which, very cool touch by the way, a lot of games should take notes of that. Then you have the world itself. Now, the world map itself is massive, but it's also misleading because you're really only tackling very small regions around said fortresses that you are trying to take over in Middle-earth. You also have a new... it's tough to say improved storyline. There's more storyline. There's much more characters to be involved with. But let's just talk very quickly about the Nemesis system. The Nemesis system is the reason to play this game. It is so improved from the first game. I am about, let's say, 40 plus hours. I'm almost at 50 hours. And I'm still seeing brand new orcs, events, cutscenes, and situations pop up that I haven't seen yet. Like, just brand new things I have not seen before. Whether it's like an orc kills you and breaks your sword, or an orc kills you and says he's in love with you. An orc shows up to betray you and then regret his decisions. One time I shamed an orc, which is what you do to lower their level, and instead he embraced the level and went all the way to level 50, which is a level I can't even reach. I didn't even know that was possible. That's just a small taste of the scope of the Nemesis systems, the way they interact with each other, the way now events will be timed and the orcs will act on their own volition without you having to give each one an order to do something, commanding them to betray their leaders, having them as allies to call upon, the way they can set up to infiltrate fortresses, which are a very new fun mechanic in which you take a big fortress in this Braveheart style battle with, you know, siege weapons and storming the walls, capturing gates, fighting an overlord, taking control of the region, having your people be in control of it. The Nemesis system is really the reason to play Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Well, why are you saying it's the reason to play it? And it's because, yes, the game is bigger, it's more broad in scope, the storyline is more involved. However, that's where things start to suffer. Now, really quickly, the controls, the graphics, it looks and plays incredibly. Monolith is always delivered in that region. The controls are very smooth and responsive, and Talion himself has now become some elven superhero god who can leap buildings in literal bounds and jump hundreds of feet. He's very fast, he's very quick and agile, and it looks incredible. It's optimized no matter what system you're playing it on. It's going to be a top tier game for you. However, this game being bigger isn't necessarily meaning it's better, because you have a lot more regions to conquer, but each region feels very isolated. Each region, the first time you do it, is very exciting. You know, you have these towers you capture, you're scanning the environment for these different collectibles, poems of Isildur, and you have, you know, Shelob memories to collect and little Gondorian artifacts, and then you have the Nemesis system for that region and its own fortress, and it's all well and good until you do it, go to the next region and realize, oh wow, I have to do it all over again. Then go to the third fortress and you're like, oh wow, I had to do it all over again. And by the fifth time, it just becomes very dry. It's a very, almost Assassin's Creed 1 problem where there's just no variety. I mean, every area you go to, you got to capture 3 towers, collect 9 or 10 collectibles to do the same exact thing, and it plays out the same way no matter which region you're in. Even though the regions themselves are vastly different and they're varied, it's the same side activity, and it just gets very rote and monotonous even after the second time you do it. And it's just something that really sticks out because the Nemesis system is so fresh. That whole part of it is very old. It's very old game design. Yes, there's more to do in the world, but what you do in the world is not very interesting compared to the main attraction here. And on top of that, the story missions fall under the same umbrella. Now, there is more story, there's more characters, there's more cutscenes, there's more dialogue, but the actual mission design of the story missions are very bland. They're very dry. You're very simplified. You just come here, capture this guy. You might have to fight a couple Nazgul and capture a certain captain to make a next story event trigger. But compared to the interactivities you were having with the Nemesis system, everything in the storyline seems very bland, and it doesn't really pull in anything from the Nemesis system, and it basically effectively feels like it's creating two games. It feels like you have the main attraction, which is the Nemesis system, building your army, attacking these fortresses, and then, oh, also there's this whole storyline involving the fate of Mordor. But it honestly feels like they're at odds with each other because they don't really cross over. There's not really any interaction, and you get the sense that they put so much energy into the Nemesis system that for the storyline they were just like, I don't know, we had to kind of slap something together. And I just feel like if they make a third one of these games, they're going to have to take a long look at filling out the world, the way the world is, because right now it's very segmented. Each region feels very isolated. And it'd be much better if it was an open world and you could actually traverse the plains and approach one of these fortresses from a distance. As it is right now, you load into 7 different hubs, you do the exact same side activities in every single one, and it just gets boring. The storyline, it just gets boring. It's just anything that takes me away from the Nemesis system is just not that great. It never rises above average, and I feel like that really pulls this game down. No matter how strong the Nemesis system is, everything around it just takes away from it and doesn't really reward you for putting in the time and effort into the thing that matters the most in this game. Now, that's my review of Middle-earth: Shadow of War. I really like the Nemesis system. I hope they expand on it, and I hope they find ways to bring the storyline up to that level, because right now the Nemesis system is like a 10 out of 10, and the storyline stuff is like way below average in my opinion. I give it a 3 out of 5. I feel like how bland that side content is, how vanilla and dry the story design is in terms of the mission structure, really ended up pulling down my enjoyment of this game despite how much fun I'm having with the Nemesis system. Now, if you just don't really care about that stuff and you're just going to skip all the cutscenes, more power to you. You're going to love this game. There's a lot more in it for you. But for me, I just wish that every part of the game was up to that standard. And it actually feels like it's a step down from the first game in that regard, where that game was very light on the side content and the storyline so that you could focus more on the Nemesis system. This one, because of its length and its bloat, just really starts to notice the seams and the cracks. And don't even get me started on that post-game grind. That's a whole nother issue completely. So, 3 out of 5. Could have been a Game of the Year contender, but I think it's just going to be, you know, right there. Solid title, but just missing that couple things to make it truly excellent. My name is Namtox. I hope you enjoyed the review. See ya later, everybody.